In your book, you talk about causes for Alzheimer's. And earlier you mentioned that a lot of times it's 10 to 20 years prior to symptoms that things start happening. Do we know what some of the causes might be yet, or to have a good handle on that?
Yeah. There are all kinds of ideas out there. It could be more than one thing. There
Sure.
probably is more than one thing. One that has really kind of caught my eye is a problem of nitrites and nitrates in foods. This is something that many Americans would be eating with virtually every meal. There's a group at Brown University, and it's basically the same group that coined the term type 3 diabetes to describe Alzheimer's disease. They look at what could cause this insulin deficiency and insulin resistance in the brain, and they found that nitrosamine compounds, which come from nitrites and nitrates in food and drink and tobacco, do, in lab animals at least, cause insulin resistance and insulin deficiency in the brain. And these are compounds that are found in processed meats, like deli meats. It's used as a preservative in other meats. Processed cheeses. White flour has something called thiamine mononitrate. It's a vitamin, synthetic vitamin that's required. Thiamine's required to be put into white flour because it's been stripped of nutrients, basically. But the mononitrate is the part that is a little bit worrisome, and it's in so many packaged foods. It's in anything that contains white flour, cookies, crackers, bread, which